always forget. Yay! Hey, everybody. I am super excited that it's Lunch and Learn Wednesday. Today, we're going to talk about the 8 benefits of coaching and mentoring. And this is maybe one of my favorite topics to talk about because coaching and mentoring has been a huge part of my life since I became an entrepreneur back in 2004. So today we're just going to discuss various ways that you can benefit from working with a coach or a mentor as an individual or as an organization if you're a bigger business. So for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Anza Goodbar. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have owned I've owned 3 8-figure businesses since I started my entrepreneurial journey back in 2004 in multiple industries, and I have been in the online space since 2008. I'm a professional business and marketing strategist for business owners. I am a data guru. I help create data-driven audiences to help increase your conversion rates on your ads. I am a Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach, Trainer, and Speaker. I'm a 7-time best-selling author, and I am a personal development enthusiast, if you couldn't tell. So I'm super excited that you guys are here today. I do like to keep this as interactive as possible, so feel free to raise your hand if you have questions or write things. Let me turn on the chat. Write things in the chat if you have any questions or comments, and we will get to them. So what we're going to cover today is how working with a coach or mentor can help to raise your self-awareness. It can raise your resilience. It can help you create collaborative opportunities. It can help with self-efficacy. It can enhance your communication skills. It can help you create a great life and work balance, and it can also help improve mental health. So let's dig in. Self-awareness is one of those things that I just love to talk about. If you guys follow my blogs, you'll see that I have a lot of blogs out there about using your journal to help raise self-awareness. And that was actually something that I learned through working with my very first coach, in being able to use my journal to help look for trends in my mindset, for patterns in how I showed up or didn't show up in my business. So using the tool of introspection can help build personal and professional growth. John Maxwell wrote a book called The Way Successful People Think. I'm paraphrasing that. And it goes through and it talks about 12 different ways that as leaders and business owners, we can be thinking in our business. And one of those is reflection, or you might call it introspection, but being able to sit and look back at what's working, what's not working, what's the common thread there. Coaches can help us by asking questions to dig deeper and to find those answers within ourselves. Self-awareness also comes out of bringing insights into areas that we want to focus on for growth. So once you kind of look at what's working, what's not working, maybe those areas of what's not working are areas that you really want to focus on. That might be having tough conversations. When in my mortgage business, when I started working with a mentor, it was really hard for me to tell people they didn't get approved for the loan. And so I really needed that coaching and mentoring to be able to figure out the language and the tone and the way to deliver that, heartbreaking news to somebody, and feel okay about it, right? And so having that self-awareness that was a struggle for me helped me seek out the help that I needed to be able to show up in a way that was going to be really empowering and helpful. And, just because the answer is no, sometimes it isn't a definite no. It's a not right now. It's like, let's regroup. This is what we need to fix in order to make you eligible to qualify for a loan in the future. And people really appreciated that, even though it was disappointing. Having a strategy or an action plan in place to say, hey, this is how I can continue to help you. This goal is not achievable. It just isn't in the cards for right now. Let's take 90 days and put in the work and then try again. And most of the time that did work. And that was a big reason why we had such a referral based business, because a lot of people would have said, nope, you're not eligible, see you later, right? And so coaching can help us look at the bigger picture and be able to get the results that we're looking for. This is another favorite thing of mine, is resilience. As small business owners, we have to be resilient in our business. I have seen so many people fail to stick to it because they weren't resilient. And many times they quit right before they figured out that thing that gave them their magic sauce. So when we build resilience in our lives, especially in our businesses, we can improve our stress tolerance. If people don't have great tools to deal with their stress, they're willing to walk away faster because they just can't carry that weight. And so when we build resilience, we can find better strategies to deal with our stress. And for everybody, it's different. I like to dance it out. When I'm feeling really stressful, putting on high energy music that I know the words to, and I know the beat, and I can just get there and move, that really helps. Some people like to go for a run. Sometimes I scream into my pillow. As silly as that sounds, it just helps me really just get rid of all the things that maybe I just don't even have words for, right? But I know I'm super frustrated and angry and I'm ready to throw in the towel, but sometimes screaming, can help do that. So you've got to find the things that work for you to build the resilience that you need in order to continue to grow your business. And resiliency will help us better adapt to unfavorable circumstances more successfully. Sometimes when we are going to build a business, we have these great plans that we think are just going to immediately give us the result that we want. And sometimes those plans and those actions give us an entirely different result. Or sometimes there's things that aren't favorable, that are totally outside of our control, like the economy, like COVID, right? COVID was a great example of an unfavorable circumstance that we may have found ourselves in that had nothing to do with any of our own actions or plans. And so when we're resilient, we're able to look at how we can leverage the situation that we're in order to adapt to the current set of circumstances. So resilience is just one of those things that coaching can really help us tap into. It also decreases the likelihood of experiencing burnout. Sometimes as solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, we get so wrapped up in what's going on in the day to day, we miss out on what the big picture is. And we can feel like we have to do all the things and wear all the hats. And that can really lead us down the path of burnout if we're not really careful about taking a look at that. And then resiliency will give us an overall life and job satisfaction, whether we have a career or whether we're building our business. When we're resilient, we can look at those setbacks as an opportunity to learn something new and figure out a better way to find a solution. So working with coaching also, or with a mentor, also helps us create collaborative opportunities. I have worked in corporate a long time ago, but when I did, there was a lot of competition. Everybody was out for themselves. They were willing to place blame and backstab in order to climb the corporate ladder. And through coaching, especially if you're using coaching to build your team inside of your organization, you can really tap into some magic when you get everyone on your team committed to personal growth and for professional growth as well. It helps bring about a deeper understanding about other team members. It helps them be able to show up fully and authentically and be able to see new ways that they can contribute. It helps reduce conflict between team members because they have such a wonderful appreciation of what other people are bringing to the team, and it helps build confidence in decision making skills. Sometimes people are afraid to make a decision because they're afraid of being judged, or they're afraid of there being backlash if they make the wrong decision. And, sometimes decisions that could have been made and brought the right solution weren't taken because of those fears. And so when you can create a safe space by bringing a coach in to help people shift their perspective, you get better results. And then also, your team members usually have better time management um, skills, and they contribute more effectively because they feel valued. And when they feel that other people on the team are relying on them to show up and do their best, you get a better result. And your team just really melds together, and they start to see how working with each other because of their different giftedness can create a better result. And they don't feel so much power or pressure to have to perform all on their own, because we always do more and better when we have more of us involved. John Maxwell always says teamwork makes the dream work, and it's true because we're able to share the load and tap into different people's giftedness and talents. And then coaching can also help build self-efficacy. There is so much power in learning from other people's experience on a team. And that's why I love team building so much, because you get to learn from what other people have done, and that allows you to not have to fall and fail forward and make your own set of mistakes. You can apply that knowledge and wisdom to your circumstance, so you're able to get to the results that you're looking for faster by bypassing maybe learning some of those lessons on your own. It also bolsters your own self-confidence because you are being affirmed by somebody that you respect and trust. And that always helps us feel better about ourselves inside when we have somebody co-signing on what we're doing, how we're showing up, how we're performing. And you can create strategies to achieve goals with a coach. They can help you see the bigger picture. Many of the entrepreneurs that I work with just get really tunnel visioned and get really stuck on looking at one part of the piece of the puzzle, and they don't see the whole picture. And so coaching can help you take those blinders off and really look at all of the possibilities that are out there. And they're always your biggest cheerleader, right? You've got someone to help you celebrate, no matter how big or how small that win is. They help you capitalize on that feeling, right? You get that dopamine, I think it is, that hits you, and it gives you that high when you celebrate those wins, and they help you tap into that and continue to build momentum. I am a huge fan of the show Billions. I think it's on HBO, and it's the story of a company um, called Axe Financial, and it's all about Wall Street, right? They're all financial traders. There's a lot of stress. There's a little bit of backbiting that goes on, but they have this woman named Wendy, and she is their coach. She's their performance coach, and she is like everything I want to be when I grow up. She looks into the situation of what's going on. She calls them out on the limiting belief or whatever that's happening. And she's always the one who's there to celebrate their biggest wins. And, they're dealing with billions of dollars in their business. And sometimes they make the wrong trade, and sometimes things tank. And, there's drama that's surrounded by that because it's impacting, the company's bottom line, but also, the clients. And it's wonderful. It's filled with lots of drama, and the characters are just amazing. But it just gives you such an appreciation for how somebody who has a different perspective and whose entire focus is to bring the best of you out, right? So you're performing at your best and you're always striving to become better, right? And so um, coaching can really help us enhance our communication skills because it really challenges us to be able to articulate what's going on inside. Sometimes with ourselves, and I do this all the time, it's like, oh, I've got this icky feeling, something's not right. And then I'll just keep pushing forward. When what would be most beneficial and working with a coach gives you that accountability is to say, oh, where do I feel that in my body? Oh, I feel that in my gut. Well, where did that come from? What just happened before I got that feeling, right? And it helps you really be able to identify what's going on internally so you can deal with the root of the problem and not just put a band-aid over it and put on a mask and put on your happy face and show up. Because if you can deal with what's happening to you internally, you can fix what that is and be able to change your intention and your actions moving forward. And it also helps us alleviate stress because we're able to identify what that thing is that's gnawing away at us, right? And it helps us to advocate. And you can say, you know what? I got this really icky feeling in my gut when my boss came in and just dumped this thing on my lap. And I don't feel like I'm equipped or that I'm the right person to tackle this. But I don't know how to stand up for myself. I don't know how to say that, right? Having a coach be able to help you identify what that is and put together a strategy to have those kinds of conversations where you don't feel like it's a weakness to do that, right? You feel like, I am so empowered. I'm not the right person. But Joe in the cubicle next to me, man, that's his project all day long. Why aren't we giving it to Joe? Well, maybe we don't know that Joe has a full um, tank over there and he can't take on any more work. And so they're giving it to you because they think that you're the next best person. Maybe you can collaborate with Joe and get some insights on how he would tackle it, right? But if we don't know how to advocate for ourselves, we might just stay stuck and we might feel resentful. And that's not serving anybody on our team, right? So when we have better communication, it can create a safe space for us to have difficult or scary conversations without having fear of rejection or any kind of reprisals from standing up for ourselves. Coaching can also help us create work-life balance. It can help us set our own set of priorities. And sometimes this is really hard for entrepreneurs, especially people who work with home-based offices, because they totally feel like they're at work all of the time. And if there's work to be done, they can sometimes feel guilty for not doing it. And when that happens, sometimes our family life can suffer. Sometimes our business suffers. Sometimes other relationships within our teams can suffer. And so being able to set boundaries. I worked with a woman as a client. She was a coach, and she had certain things on her calendar that were non-negotiables. And it used to drive me absolutely crazy. She worked with a lot of international people and being able to line up their schedules to make things happen was often really difficult because her yoga class that she liked to take every day was right in the middle of prime time for people in Australia to be able to meet with her. And she made no exceptions. And now, many years later, I really appreciate that. Sometimes we do have to have things on our schedule that are non-negotiable so we keep our priorities straight, right? That might be family time. It might be yoga time. It might be journaling time. But we need to be able to set those priorities, and a coach can help us be able to identify what those priorities should be and how we can protect those priorities and set the boundaries and hold those boundaries in place. It also empowers us to make time for self-care. Self-care is often poo-pooed upon, oh, that's a luxury or whatever. Really, it's a necessity. It helps us be better leaders. It helps us take care of our health. And it's just good for us on so many levels, personally and professionally. And it helps us stay in alignment with our personal and professional goals. So, if we're not in alignment with our own values, it's going to be really hard for us to function correctly as the CEO in our business and being in alignment with what those goals are. And so we want to make sure that we have the right work-life balance. And I think that's something that's always changing. It changes by the seasons that we're going through in our life. It changes by the stage that we're at in our business. Sometimes we have to put in more hours if we're doing a launch. That's just the fact of life. But then you need to make sure that you're balancing that out with proper downtime once you get past that launch. And so that kind of just eases into mental health. And I think that mental health is really a hot topic right now coming out of COVID. A lot of people dealing with a lot of depression and isolation, and being able to really talk about how they feel. Working with a coach can be a great space for facing down our fears or limiting beliefs, or, whatever it is that we're dealing with that maybe we don't feel like we can talk to with someone who is entwined in the situation. And so it helps us to be able to regulate our own emotions and be able to identify. Not everybody has the capacity to really identify what their emotions are. They just know that they're feeling off center. And working with a coach can help us identify and regulate what those emotions are. And then also, it can help us be more intentional about our purpose and really being able to hone in on where we want to go and the actions that we need to take to be able to get there. And this one I didn't put on our list, and I thought about it as an afterthought, but coaching builds in accountability. And accountability is so important in every aspect of our life. It helps us be responsible for ourselves. It encourages us to become our best self. Um, it increases our reliability. We perform better when we're accountable to someone. We will let ourselves down 6 ways from Sunday, but by golly, we don't want to let Susie down if we gave her our word, right? And so having that built-in accountability can help us both personally and professionally. It promotes ownership in our goals, and it builds in a good work ethic, right? It forces us in some ways to show up for ourselves. It also reduces conflicts because we stop playing the blame game because we're taking personal responsibility and ownership for our part in something. And so when you're growing a team, especially at larger organizations, that can be huge because I can't tell you how many times I heard, oh, well, Bill didn't get his stuff to me, so therefore I couldn't do it. Well, did you follow up with Bill? Well, no, he knew the deadline, but he didn't get it to me. So who really owns that? I have to own that because I didn't follow up with Bill. Sure, Bill didn't meet the deadline either, but I did nothing to ensure that he did, to keep the project on course. And so we want to be able to reduce conflict by owning our own part of whatever a given situation is. It could be in our marriage, it could be in a friendship, it could be in a work environment. We need to be able to have that personal accountability as well. It also, like I gave an example, it helps us measure progress and keep our performance at optimum levels. And if we're holding each other accountable on our team, then everybody is performing better. We're making leaps and bounds worth of progress instead of little tiny baby steps. It also inspires confidence and it builds consistency in our results. When we're working and functioning together as a unit, when we're accountable to one another, whether it's our coach, our boss, our team, we're going to get better results all over the board. It also builds trust. We start to feel more confident. It's like, you know what? I can show up in this way. I can fill this space differently so people see me differently as I continue to grow and evolve as a person. And I can take on more responsibility because I have the support of the team and we have this accountability um, built into our actions and how we're functioning together. And it allows us to think outside of the box. You know, sometimes we show up and we know what the parameters are. And so we stay inside that box and we never get the results that we're really looking for because they're on the outside of the barrier of the box that we've put ourselves into or allowed other people to put us into. And it can help us remove limiting beliefs that hold us back, right? Sometimes we feel like this is the role that I have been cast in, and this is the way that I just always need to show up because it's what's expected, even if we don't feel comfortable or happy there. Coaching can help us break down those limiting beliefs and break out of the box that we've been put in. So let's do a quick recap. We talked about how coaching or mentoring can help us raise our own self awareness, help build resilience in our life, to help us see how we can collaborate rather than compete with others, and how it can improve our self efficacy, how it can enhance our communication skills, how it can help us create work life balance, how it can help us improve our mental health, and most importantly, I think how it can help us build in accountability. So, organizations can benefit from coaching as well as individual people. Coaching validates and supports and empowers individuals by providing a neutral party to assist with professional development. It provides a safe space to practice having difficult conversations. I think that's one of the biggest benefits that I've experienced through all of the coaches that I've worked with is being able to role play some of those scary conversations. Um, it can be helpful when employ or by encouraging employees to bring their whole selves to work. Um, Lots of times people feel like I can't just be me and be authentic. I have to leave the things that I think aren't going to be accepted at home. And that really limits us. We want people to be able to show up fully and authentically because their unique life experience brings so much when you're looking at brainstorming and problem solving. But if there's something you think you can't contribute, it can cause you to play small and hold back. Coaching also provides additional growth focused touch points. And so oftentimes managers or leaders can be so busy, you only hear from them if you're doing exceptionally well or exceptionally poorly, right? And so coaching helps to fill in that gap and give them other check-in points so you know that you're always there cheering for them. And by the way, coaching can be you coaching your team. It doesn't necessarily mean hiring somebody outside of your organization, but it can be a role that you're actually filling in your organization. But many organizations bring in people to fill in that role and specifically function in that space. It also helps us as a whole to appreciate and value the gifts and talents that other people possess that we don't, in order to bring us all together and work towards a common goal. And then it helps to encourage us to try new skills and practice new skills, and take risks on ourselves because it's only when we're willing to try new things and do new things that we're able to get better and different results. So, it would be nice if there was an overnight fix for personal or professional development, but there's not. We have to show up every day and put in the work to be able to get new results. And coaching is a wonderful fix for that, to have someone that can help us be accountable and to be able to bet on ourselves and do more, right? We're always more productive when we have that accountability. Our teams are more engaging with us when we hold them accountable to perform at a different level. And, even though in our business we're dealing with adults, in some ways we still need to treat them like kids. They need to know the parameters that they're working in. They need to know the bar that is set. They need to know the expectation that we have for their performance, for their contributions. And we want them to be able to share when they're not feeling up to their normal level, or when they've hit a problem where it isn't that it's a weakness, right? It's a strength to come forward and say, "Hey, I need help. I'm drowning over here. I have too much on my plate." Or, "Hey, somebody didn't follow through." It could be an external vendor. I had a in my event planning days, I had a colleague who accidentally signed a contract for a private rodeo we were doing, for the wrong day of the week, and the wrong month of the year. So, um, don't know what happened exactly, how it happened, but when she was looking at her calendar, she had flipped a month ahead and she chose the date, right? The 18th or whatever, but it wasn't even when the client was going to be in town. And she came to me, and she was just like mortified. She's like, "Ansa, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?" And it was like 20, 21 days out from the event, and they were booked with another event at the rodeo arena. And it's like, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And she's like, "I can't go back. I can't go tell my boss. We've got to come up with some kind of solution. And what am I going to tell the client?" And so we were able to collaborate and work together. We didn't end up getting the big arena, but they had another facility that actually, because of the weather that happened that day, turned out to be the better venue anyway. At the time, it was a plan B, but it definitely turned out to be the best. And then out of that event, we had another problem. One of the bulls from the bull riding event escaped. He jumped the fence and ran down the hill to the Walmart and ended up in the Walmart parking lot. And so it we had this whole set of fiascos that happened, and it gave us all an opportunity to problem solve. Who do we need to get? Who do you call when a bull is running down the street? What do you do? And so, we're able to work together and collaborate when we create that kind of environment where you can go to someone and say, "Hey, I've made a huge mistake. I need help fixing it. I don't have the bandwidth to do this on my own. I need the power of groupthink," right? So if you're considering how working with a coach or mentor could help you up level your life or business, you can schedule a call with us and see if we're a good fit. Our team of coaches specialize in personal development, leadership, mindset, performance, and business growth strategies. And we would love to partner with you to help you reach your goals more quickly. So, you guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you guys here again next week.